Good evening once again. Just to summarise a few points from our speeches, following on from what we're just talking about there, in my speech I tried to focus on the issue of, I suppose, the kind of universe that we live in and the kind of being that a human being is, and how that's connected with morality and what we call a true morality, or being truly moral. By the way, I think it is worth mentioning to Rob that the word morality is a noun, even at third level. It can be a verb as well. One can be moral, but just I'm an English teacher as well, so I couldn't let that one go. It's a minor matter, I know, but at least if we clarify that much, at least we'll have done something. My serious point though was, and again I noticed when I asked Michael there about the issue of does every single human being have inherent value and worth, Michael managed to answer the question without saying anything about whether individual human beings, and each and every one, has inherent value and worth. And started talking about the fact that we're equal to the other animals. That sentient beings, it seems as if, in Michael's view, are what we're talking about here, which leads to also the questions. I mean, one can be completely against, and should be, cruelty towards animals, but are you of the same equal value and worth as your dog, or as a worm, or as a monkey? I mean, I have nothing against dogs or worms or monkeys, great, but if there's a fire in a house, and I have to save a human being or the dog, I'd save the human being, because I would, without being kind of arrogant about human beings or thinking that we're what the universe exists for, I would consider human beings to be superior and to have the greater claim on my attention in that kind of case. Because I believe that human beings have this, what the word we use is dignity or value. But it seems very hard to kind of account for this if the universe comes from nothing, or evolves in a sense from a process which starts out with no intelligence, no mind, no value, because value and mind go together, right? Simple physical reality, doesn't give us value as such. Value suggests something that is, valued, that is worthwhile, that is considered to be valuable, and so on. So that was sort of the main point, in a sense, that I was trying to get across, that if God exists and is the creator of a universe which is intelligible and good, and creates human beings in his image and likeness, and we are creatures of dignity and worth, that gives a grounding to a true morality. Well, whether we know it or not, by the way, in a sense, whether we know it or not is another debate. It's a very important debate. We spent a fair bit of time on it in the questions and answers, but that's really another debate. If we are to know what morality is, we need to have some sort of stability and something to know. And that, I'm saying, depends on the fact that the universe is not all that there is, and matter is not the ultimate reality. And originally there is a mind, there is an intelligence, which is God. And we believe that this God is, by nature, a good and wise God. Therefore his commands, his morality, is not something independent of him. This is the Plato's issue that Michael mentioned, but it's something which flows from his nature. Now, just to talk a bit about evolution, and I did as well, because I didn't deny that evolution has a role to play in the way that we have developed. I think that that's certainly true, and it will enter into the way that we think about morality. What I was denying, and I think Justa was too, is the idea that evolution in itself can be enough to be a basis for morality. In other words, it's part of a bigger picture, but it can't be the foundation, because it's just a physical process. Now, if you believe that evolution is a process which is guided by an intelligent God, then you might have some reason for thinking that by means of evolution, human beings can evolve an understanding of right and wrong, an appreciation of values, and so on. But otherwise, I think you simply can't do so. And Garrett's point, I think, was very much sort of focused on the idea that we have conscience, and we have this kind of recognition of human rights. And again, what can be the basis for that? Why is it that we can agree on morality? Why is it that we can expect other people to accept certain things as being moral norms, moral rules? Why is it not just an imposition, morality? It's not an imposition if it's truly objective, and we are each of us trying to discover and live by and share and tell each other as well in different kinds of ways what that morality is. If there is an objective morality, then it's not an imposition. If it's just subjective, or even if it's just relative to a culture, then in a way it always will be a kind of imposition, because there's nothing independent in a sense of us that it's based on. So I think a theistic understanding here gives us a morality which is stable, although it can develop to some extent. It is, can be shared. It's something which can be given and passed on and can come from God, but it also can find an echo in our own reasoning. And it enables us to understand God's laws as being reasonable and therefore good, and therefore, in a sense, worthy of being accepted and lived by and witnessed to. So the example of Dietrich Bonhoeffer, for example, that Justin gave, is just one example of someone who is able to sacrifice his life for the sake of something which is good, which is bigger than him, which in a sense is, and in this Holy Week, I suppose, thinking about Jesus Christ, that would be, I suppose, a good point on which to end. The idea of giving your life. I don't mean now suicide bomber, killing other people. No. I'm talking about martyrdom, giving your life for the sake of what is good and true and beautiful. That is an ideal that makes sense. But it only fully makes sense in a world in which there is God. Thank you.